Let's begin this episode by first taking quick overview of Salesforce schedule triggered flows and followed by its key points and some common business use cases. For the sake of easiness, I have tried highlighting all these things in a slide so that we can go through these points one by one. In case you have any questions, any suggestions, or any doubts, you can use the comment section of this video and we'll try to reach out to you as soon as we can. So let's begin. So, what are Salesforce schedule triggered flow actually? These are very powerful automation tools which allows Salesforce to run flows at specific time interval rather than running them manually or by changes in some records. You can schedule these schedule triggered flows at recurring schedule such as weekly, monthly, daily, or yearly based on your businesses. Or you can also define your own custom schedule for such kind of flows. These kind of like what I say, these kind of flows are very different from the record triggered flows because they these kind of schedule triggered flows don't depend on any user interaction or any changes taken on the records. They are independent, they run on their defined schedule. I hope this definition makes it clear to you what are actually schedule triggered flows. And as you can see, I have highlighted these similar points in this slide, so you can just pause this video, go through these points and get an idea. Now this is all about its overview. Now let's talk about some key features of schedule triggered flow. The I have tried highlighting three common what I say key features. Here you can expand this list as you read more about them, but I tried highlighting some of the common key features. The first key feature is automatic execution. What does this term mean? Meaning that the schedule triggered flows run automatically at its scheduled time without requiring any user interaction or without requiring any changes in the records. Second, bulk data processing. You heard it right. You can configure the scheduled trigger flows to perform operations on bulk data by querying the data and submitting that to the flow. That can also be done. And the third one is customizable filters, meaning that you can configure the schedule trigger flows to what I say to filter out the number of records that it can process based on applying certain filters while you configure your schedule trigger flow. These terms might be getting a bit tricky or confusing for you because you might not have worked with schedule trigger flows before. So you don't have to worry about it. During this episode, I will walk you through one sample schedule trigger flow where I will tell you about how you can configure the filters to filter out the records that your schedule trigger flow will operate on. So these are the two things. One, we went through the overview and the key features of the schedule trigger flow. Moving on to the next part, that is the common business use cases for the schedule trigger flow. Why I have included this segment into this episode? Because as you know, Salesforce offers multiple types of multiple types of flows. So as an admin, you should be very careful while selecting the type of flow for your next business automation. So therefore, you should know the purpose when in which you should be using Salesforce schedule triggered flows. I have kept this slide here. And as I mentioned previously, I'm trying to highlight some common key features as well as common business use cases. This list definitely can expand as you know more about them, as you explore more or discover more business use cases to which can be handled by schedule triggered flows. So let's go through these use cases one by one. The first use case here is periodic data cleanup. What does this mean? In any of your Salesforce org in which you will be working, there will be a lot of data that you might not need over the period of time, or there might be some data that you might need to archive from the org after a certain point of time. So those kind of cleanup like cleanup processing or cleanup tasks, you can use your schedule trigger flow, and you can schedule these record trigger flows to run on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis based on your business use case. The second is recurring notifications. What does this mean? The recurring, like there are certain what I say, certain email alerts or certain notifications that you need to send to your users on a periodic basis. For example, what I say, every month or every week you need to remind your sales team to submit their weekly report to their higher management. You can have such business use case where your sales team has to what I say, submit their sales report every week to their higher management. For that, you can create a schedule trigger flow which will send this email alert every week to your sales team to notify about the report. So that is about the recurring notification. The third point here is, I think by mistake here, that was a typo. So we'll skip that part. So we'll move on to the fourth use case, that is batch updates. What does this batch updates mean? When you work on like actual Salesforce org with your business, there are some use cases in which you have to perform mass field updates or mass record updates based on the certain criteria. And I believe it will be difficult when you just at a random time you want to perform those kind of mass updates due to the volume of data available in the org. So often admins, what they can do, they can schedule such mass updates during the weekend, or maybe during a time where there is a less user activity on the org. Therefore there will be no issue with the data, or there will be no issue with the performance or the service that user is using on top of Salesforce org. So for such mass updates or batch updates, you can also use the Salesforce schedule triggered flows. I hope this point is also clear. The fifth part is data synchronization. You wonder what this term, what does this term means? In often in many cases, it happens that the businesses deal with data across multiple systems. For example, they might be using their POS kind of system, or a ERP kind of system to grab their data from the users, or from their storefronts, or from their for example their web stores. And then they integrate Salesforce CRM with those ERP systems or accounting systems to exchange the data. Sometimes what happens, the other systems contain what I say, uh, a lot of data to be processed or to be passed to and fro the Salesforce CRM and ERP systems. These kind of data synchronization can happen at a specific point of time, maybe during the weekends, or maybe every hour or every 4 hours, depending on the volume of data, business use case, and the requirements of the business. So for such data synchronization tasks between the Salesforce and the external systems, we can also leverage the scheduled triggered flows. So this is pretty much all about the basic business use cases for scheduled triggered flows. In case you have more suggestions for the use cases, do let me know in the comment section below. I would definitely love to hear your opinions.